Good morning. Guten Morgen. It's an off day for Lolo. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Dang it. What am I doing here? Why can't I just open? I just want to open it. Hold on, I just need to send this to Bobo. To thank you very much. That's all. Including my daughter here, as she will be primary. Thank you so much. I know, it's just one of those mornings. I'm early. I'm tired. I know, I'm sorry. I'm actually, yeah, hold on. Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Great stream. This is not really people. This is not my people. Am I live? Oh yeah, I'm live. Okay. I don't know why. Yeah. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Ooh. Oh my gosh, how is everybody? I know I'm early. Nobody's really here. It's okay. I mean, maybe somebody's here, but they're just not saying, "Hi, I'm here," which is fine. I hope everyone's well. I don't know. I woke up this morning and it was just it's been a little tough morning, a little tough emotional morning. I think you can tell. I look old. I don't know why I look so old. I think I've gained a couple pounds and I think that makes me look older. I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it is live. I know. I'm live. I know. I came on early. I'm kind of a mess. But you know, that's just it. I'm just a mess. I'm just a bill. I don't like nothing fits. I was watching yesterday's rerun. Yeah, no. You weren't. This is live. Live and in person. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Hi Neil. How are you? I'm good, I think. I'm fine. I mean, you know, in this big scheme of things, I'm fine. It's just the normal. We have I know everyone has clean underwear on today. That's one thing. Oh my God, that was really worth it. That was really worth it. I feel like I helped people do their laundry. Isn't that nice? I think that's a pretty good thing. Hey, Peace Love, how are you, darling? Yeah, I really I think it's great. If I can help people do their laundry, that's like a dream. Like then you're like a staple. Like you're part of somebody's world. Part of your world. I want to go where the clean underwear is. I want to see. Oh, Jeff, you're so kind. I look so many days over 26. I don't even know. It's too many Cheetos. I've been back on my Cheeto habit. Yeah, exactly. Everybody was inspired by Max. You're so sweet, Jeff. No, but but yeah, no, I'm here. We were all Don't It's so nice to see everyone. You know what it is? I think the late start throws me off. I think I'm an early morning girl. Because I'm raring to go at like 6:30 in the morning my time. So I feel like I'm really looking forward to moving because then we will be in a place where I can go live early and it will be great. And that's what I'm really thrown off by this late start. I feel like everybody's on panicked White House with Epstein files. What a shit show. Oh my gosh, I want to read that. What is the topic du jour? Well, I was watching the superintendents from schools testify because, I'm big into education. So we might watch some of that. But now I'm kind of wanting to see what this Signal article was. Hold on. Because Bill Gates, Bill Gates. Okay, maybe that's the topic. Part of the topic this morning is going to be whatchamacallit, Epstein, but not all of it. Wait, what was I going to do? Oh shit. What was I going to pull up? Oh yeah, Signal. Hi everybody. How you doing? All right, let's see here. Oh, that's good. I want to actually read that too. There's so many beautiful things to read. Yeah. Okay. Oops. Oh. Oh. And then wait, what else did I had another one here. Yeah. Shush. For a minute, please. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Bleep. Sorry, I have to move all these screens around, and then I have to move those over here, and then I have to move those over here, and then this goes over here. Thank you very much. And I said, thank you very much. I was reading that two Democrats. What? Two Democrats have written up a bill that would ban any Canadian driving a Chinese EV from entering the United States. Who in the world would write that? That sounds ridiculous. Why in the world would anyone write that? And let alone a Democrat. Why would a Democrat write that? What up, Charlie? Good morning. Just stopping to say hello and thumbs up. Thank you, Charlie. I appreciate you, Chaz. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Yo. I appreciate you. Go out there and fight the good fight. And let us know which ponies to bet on, okay? You're my pony hookup. This dude knows all the ponies. Slotkin and Slotkin. Whatever. Well, then they're just being weird, kind of. It's probably just like protecting the auto industry kind of shit. I want a Chinese EV. Those things are cute. Have you seen those? They're amazing. I know you do. Chaz. You keep it going. You keep it going, mister. Yeah, I want one of those Chinese EVs, god damn it. Those things are supposed to be amazing. Have you seen their fucking RVs, man? I want one of those. Their RVs are lit. Oh my god, their RVs are amazing. God, I want one so bad. This is why, they make us try and be afraid of the Chinese, because they have such great things. And we will never build those things, apparently. But yeah, let me read to you a couple of articles before we get into any kind of testimony stuff, which I probably will go to the superintendents, because I'm into the whole school thing, and they're trying to pressure people into erasing LGBTQ anything from schools, which is bullshit. Canada has decided that anyone driving a Chevrolet will be banned from entering the country. LOL joke. You know what? They should, because Chevrolets are dumb. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know. I don't even know. All right, let's read to me. Why don't you read to me? Oh, Rivian trucks look good. I know they do, don't they? I'm telling you right now, though, Jeff, you got to check out the whole Chinese EV market, man. Those things are worth it. I don't know. They seem to be. I don't know. Can you guys get Chinese EVs in Canada? I'm moving to Canada. That's where I can get I'll get my Chinese RV. I'll move to Canada. And I will, well, they probably have spyware on them, as do ours. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. Listen, China doesn't want to take over the world. They want to sell the world everything. They want to make money off of the world. Okay? So China is not into, I mean, they might want Taiwan. Okay, don't get me wrong. They definitely have some imperialistic notions. And what they do in Africa to me is kind of disgusting by taking crops and lands and probably buying them at very low amounts from local farmers. And you know what I mean? Like the rubber trees in Liberia, I know are all owned by Chinese. And it's just that to me is wrong. Like that is, but if they're making a product that is worthwhile, they just want to sell it to us. They don't want to take over America. Are you kidding? They already have a lot of people. So I don't know. I just think that's a boondoggle. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I mean, I think all of our shit is an extension of our military. And it probably is because they get a lot through IP stuff. I mean, again, that's them doing business. I I don't say it's right, but I don't know how you stop it. And I don't know if we're not doing it too. So how are we? You made a deal to allow, or we, Canada, made a deal to allow 47,000 Chinese EVs in Canada without tariffs in exchange for, oh, well, that's pretty cool. That might work. That's called doing business. You know, that might work. I wonder how, I'm so curious to see how the cars do. I'm very curious. All right, let me share this article because right now, oh, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about, fuck, what's his name? Bill Gates. So Bill Gates comes out before his testimony. So Bill Gates is testifying today in front of the Commerce Committee, whatever that committee is. I can't remember, oversight. And so Bill Gates comes out before his testimony and is like, yeah, I just want to, provide whatever information will be helpful to whatever. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. You are standing there, one of the richest men in the world who has gotten away with crimes and been with trafficked people, trafficked for you with your consent to have sex with you. And you're standing there like you're a normal human being, just telling us, oh, I'm going to just tell him everything that I can, that'll be helpful. Dude, what the fuck? The amount of grace that we give, especially to white men who are abusive motherfuckers, is shocking. Because I'll bet you that that Bill also has a great dinner planned with some fucking whatever in Washington while he's there. And they'll go to the finest hotels and they'll go eat steak or whatever he eats. I don't know. He might be a vegetarian. I'm not sure. I doubt he is, though. I mean, it's just, I think the world has truly lost me. I really do. I think that I know I suffer from mental illness. I know that. But I am overwhelmed by the depression of this world that you can't, it just wants to crush you at every turn. So yeah, I don't know. It was kind of hard. All right, so let's read this. Inside the White House freak out over the Epstein files. This is what Teresa and Gal were talking about. This is a New York Times article. The president's top advisors gathered in a series of situation room meetings as they struggled to contain a scandal engulfing Donald Trump himself. The espionage. That's right. The espionage beauty. That's right. Free spying inside. Like free candy. Oh, okay. All right. No? All right. Oh, Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, two of the polyps upside Trump's anus, wrote this article. Oh, fantastic. That's fantastic. Holy shit. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, the forthcoming book. I'm sorry. It's part of the book. It's part of the book, guys. Part of the book, y'all. 4 years I've been doing this. 4 years. 4 years. On July 17, 2025, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, President Trump's top officials filed into the White House Situation Room, the secure bunker where classified and high stakes national security matters are discussed and decided. This was where President Barack Obama, along with Vice President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and the president's national security team watched the raid that ended with the death of Osama bin Laden in 2011. Now, however, Trump's most senior advisors had gathered without him to figure out how to gain some measure of control over a very different kind of crisis that threatening to engulf the presidency, the Epstein files. Dinosaur. That's a good one. I like that. 10 days earlier, the Justice Department and FBI had jointly released a memo that bluntly stated that their review had found no client list of powerful men for whom the notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein had allegedly procured underage girls and young women, intended to put to rest years of speculation and end the pressure campaign to release the voluminous material in the department's possession. The memo instead had the opposite effect, setting off a backlash that was notably loud among the MAGA base. And it was about to get worse. The Wall Street Journal was preparing a damaging article about Trump's relationship with Epstein. The president's desperate attempts to kill the story had failed. His team now had to get everyone onto the same page about how to counter the growing swarm of attention. They needed a gesture of transparency to appease an increasingly angry base, but but also a way to convey the message that the president was sympathetic to his supporters' concerns, which itself was a problem because he clearly wasn't. Vice President J.D. Vance took a seat at the head of the table in the John F. Kennedy conference room of the Situation Room complex. This is a huge problem, he told the group. Arrayed around him were the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, the White House Counsel, David Warrington, the Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Taylor Budowich, the Communications Director, Stephen Chung, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, Associate Attorney General Stanley Woodward Jr., and the Deputy Chief, James Blair. Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI Director Kash Patel joined on speakerphone. The vice president appeared panicked to others in the room about the way the subject of Epstein was already dividing the MAGA coalition. I want to stop here because I think one thing is notable. If you think about J.D. Vance as the voice of the donor, right? He's the Peter Thiel puppet, I guess, within this administration, and has funded a lot of what, through Peter Thiel, has funded a lot of what's happened, Elmo, etc., right? So I think of when I hear this, it's interesting to me that in this administration, that J.D. Vance would even have such a strong voice within the Situation Room, right? Like typically, I would imagine, and I could be wrong, but I would imagine that the vice president isn't necessarily controlling the conversation inside the Situation Room in all administrations, right? But this one seems to be a little interesting in that this is showing JD as kind of leading the conversation, which to me then intimates, and again, this is just all my kind of own half-assed analysis, frankly, is that perhaps that's a way that you do see the donor class speaking through, right? Speaking through JD. And because it's always fascinating to me what missteps the administration takes and how the donors might respond to that, and if they do and if they don't. So this is interesting. So anyway, that just kind of caught my attention that he would be the one kind of, leading the conversation. Seemed unusual. But maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Some senior officials had the impression that Vance had bought into the darkest theories about Epstein and a cabal of predators hidden within the country's ruling class. Wait, you bought into the darkest theories? Bought into the darkest theories? What? What? It is a cabal of predators hidden within the country's ruling class. What the fuck? That's not a theory. Oh my God. This is fucking Maggie Haberman and Axios. Fuck them. Wiles would tell others that the vice president had proved himself to be a major conspiracy theorist. Another top official said later that Vance had been pounding on the Epstein issue since the release of the memo. He was privately pressing for the administration to release all the Epstein files, everything in the Justice Department's possession, even encouraging a congressional investigation. Vance had also floated to colleagues an extraordinary PR gambit that the White House enlist Tucker Carlson to interview Epstein's longtime girlfriend and co conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, in prison. It might help the president if Maxwell was willing to state that Trump had not been part of any wrongdoing with Epstein. Vance told the group he believed all the files should be released as soon as possible. He argued that Congress was going to force the release of the files eventually. It was already clear that a bipartisan coalition in favor of such action was forming on Capitol Hill, and the momentum was going in one direction. If the administration got out ahead of this and released everything voluntarily, including whatever material existed about the president, it would at least get credit for transparency. The alternative was to let the story drag on for months as information dripped out, which is what happened. Each new revelation renewing the cycle of suspicion and fury. Better to rip the bandage off and move on, or send the first lady out to raise it again. Even the unsubstantiated allegations and anecdotes about Trump should go out, Vance argued. They were going to surface regardless, and if the administration published them first, it would demonstrate good faith and take the oxygen out of the conspiracy theories. His arguments fell on skeptical ears, but some advisors thought it would be a good idea to have Justice Department officials call a news conference to explain their position on the Epstein affair, going beyond the memo that precipitated the crisis. Yeah, that worked really well. At this point in the meeting, Blair spoke up. With all due respect, he said, the communication strategy of this group got us here. I don't know that it's going to get us out. And if you're going to go in front of the press, you've got a lot of work to do. He began to ask pointed mock questions, demonstrating how difficult a news conference might be. As the president's former defense attorney, Blanche had a unique vantage point in the discussion. He was better equipped than anyone else in the room to weigh the ideas being discussed against Trump's personal and political interests. Blanche laid out what he saw as their best options. Option 1 was to petition federal district courts in Florida and New York to unseal the grand jury testimonies, the secret transcripts of prosecutors' presentations of witnesses and evidence in their efforts to obtain indictments in past Epstein-related cases. As those were almost certain to contain no significant new information, everyone agreed that this option was a good idea, and not only because a release was unlikely to damage the president. Jesus Christ. Under the federal rules of criminal procedure, the secrecy of grand jury materials is regarded by most federal judges as almost always inviolate, and the bar for any release is exceptionally high. If the courts refuse to unseal them, as Blanche predicted, they could shift the blame for withholding the Epstein material away from the Dump administration and onto the judges. And all the better if the judges had been appointed by Democratic presidents. Blanche's suggestion would make it appear that the White House wanted the materials released when it almost certain not to happen. Option 2 was to have the Justice Department lawyers question Maxwell and publicly release the transcript, a twist on the idea proposed earlier by Vance. Blanche offered to interview Maxwell himself. What if we got her to talk to Congress, Vance suggested. Blanche raised the possibility that Maxwell's lawyer might expect something in return for her candor. Warrington, the White House counsel, responded by laying out the available choices without advocating any of them. Maxwell could be given a pardon, he said, or she could have her sentence reduced. At that, several around the table spoke up to register their strong disapproval. Pardoning Maxwell, a trafficker of young girls, would create a huge PR problem, Chung said. Pardoning Maxwell, a trafficker of young girls, would create a huge PR problem. Stephen Chung said that. He represents a child rapist. I know we started early. I'm so sorry. I had the opportunity and I missed everybody. So yeah, it's just one of those mornings. I'm not rocking and rolling very, very well this morning. So I'm trying to pull it together. I need to go on like a hike or something is what I need to do. Blair was adamantly opposed to a pardon. We can't offer Ghislaine Maxwell anything, he said. A, I don't know why we would. And B, if we give Ghislaine Maxwell any sort of break whatsoever, and then she turns around and says nice things about us or says nice things about us and we give her a break, it will undermine the entire point of her saying good things. That will feed the conspiracy theory, period. Well, I mean, this is the theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. You're planning it. Hmm. That will feed conspiracy. We don't. If there's nothing for her to say that hurts us, we shouldn't have to offer her anything. Yeah, oh my God. The consensus was that calling for the release of the grand jury material was the best course of action. This entire cabinet needs to go. This entire cabinet needs to go. Yeah, blame the judges. Exactly, Teresa. Wiles told the group she would discuss the matter with Dump and ask if he would send a Truth Social post calling for the release of the sealed grand jury documents. Oh my God. It's all fucking calculated. You bitch. You Russian fucking fake. Your father would be ashamed of you. Just then, the Wall Street Journal article they had been trying to kill was published online. Cell phones are forbidden in the Situation Room. So a staff member brought in printed copies of the explosive report, which detailed how Dump and many others had created birthday cards and letters to be assembled by Maxwell into a special birthday book for Epstein in 2003. The birthday card attributed to Dump depicted a nude woman, hand-drawn and inscribed with an imagined dialogue between the two men about a wonderful secret. The drawing was signed with what appeared to be Dump's distinctive jagged Sharpie signature in place of the woman's pubic hair. Charming. In the days before publication, Dump, in an effort to quash the story, had called News Corp's chief executive Robert Thompson, News Corp's owner Rupert Murdoch, and the journal's editor-in-chief Emma Tucker, practically shouting. The president told Tucker, who was British, that she must hate America, and he told her he would file a lawsuit. But none of his bullying had worked. And now, as the group sat quietly reading the full story in the Situation Room, Wiles readied a public denial for the president, which he soon posted on social media. Shortly after this, the president posted again. He was going along with the plan his advisors had hashed out in the Situation Room, though it was clear he didn't like having to do it. Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by the Democrats should end right now. In response to requests for a comment, a White House spokeswoman, Abigail Jackson, who is a cunt to end all cunts, I heard her this morning talking about something, repeated Trump's claims that he was innocent in all Epstein-related matters, adding that by releasing thousands of pages of documents, cooperating with the House Oversight Committee's subpoena request, signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and calling for more investigations into Epstein's Democrat friends, President Dump has done more for Epstein's victims than anyone before him. Oh my God. She said that. She said that. She said that. I can't. It's so crazy. Oh my God. At the start of last summer, as far as outside observers could see, Dump appeared to be at the pinnacle of his power. He had just bombed nuclear sites in Iran, completed a blitz of executive orders to reshape the immigration system, and rammed through Congress his signature piece of domestic legislation, the Big Ugly Bill. He was using the levers of government to go after his enemies, and out of fear and desperation, America's corporate titans were falling over themselves to genuflect. But behind the scenes, the Epstein misspelled. Oh, New York Times, you got a boo-boo. Boo-boo. Was paralyzing the Dump administration to a far greater extent than the public knew. In their public statements, Dump advisors were full of bravado, dismissing the crisis. In reality, it was consuming the highest ranks of the administration as no issue for the president's team since the Russia investigation in his first term. His aides were determined to keep their rising sense of panic out of public view. The Justice Department had struggled with just how to dispose of the Epstein matter since the beginning. Isn't that spelled wrong? Am I wrong? I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Since the beginning of Dump's second term, the issue was all-consuming for the president's political base, but also potentially compromising for the president himself in ways that officials in the new administration didn't fully understand. Any path forward would be fraught. Did they not understand that he was a fucking child rapist? Like, do you think these people that worked for him didn't actually know that? Are you serious? Are you expecting me to believe that? I don't understand that. Some of the complexity was self inflicted. In the engine room of the MAGA movement, the Epstein files were potent fuel. Elon Musk had used his social media platform to repeatedly question why a client list had not been released. Donald Trump Jr. and J.D. Vance had invoked the Epstein files as a broader campaign message to argue that powerful people were hiding the truth from Americans. Tucker Carlson and the young conservative leader Charlie Kirk floated the idea that there was an expansive cover up in progress. I think I might have just flown away for a minute. Trump himself had been cagey on the Lex Friedman podcast in September 2024 when asked about releasing the client list. Trump responded, "I'd certainly take a look at it," adding, "I'd have no problem with it." The list probably will be made public, he said, but he sounded less than enthusiastic. In private, Dump later told Representative MTG that a release of Epstein material could hurt some of his friends. He repeatedly insisted that he had done nothing wrong and that the whole saga was a fake news designed to harm him politically. But his posture was overtaken by the growing frenzy among his supporters. Throughout 2024, Green had made it her mission to force release of the files, and there were so many others. The far-right influencer Laura Loomer, the conservative activist Scott Pressler, Chaya Raichik from Libs of TikTok. But when it came to propagating the Epstein files as evidence of a deep state capable of evil, two podcasters were not to be outdone, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Patel, a national security director for counterterrorism and Defense Department chief of staff in the first Dump administration, had repeatedly claimed in podcast interviews that the government was hiding Epstein's black book or client list, and he frequently asserted that the FBI was deliberately withholding names to protect the powerful. Patel promised that a second Dump administration would release everything to restore public trust. On the Dan Bongino show, Bingo Bongo's background as a Secret Service agent had lent authority to his claims of a cover-up. "What the hell are they hiding with Jeffrey Epstein?" he'd ask his large audience of MAGA devotees. The release of the client list would rock the political world, he predicted. The Washington swamp was not telling you the truth. And so, as they took office in 2025, Trump's advisors were subject to intense pressures of their own making. Attorney General Pam Bondi quickly made things much worse. First, in a Fox News interview on February 21st, she appeared to confirm the existence of an Epstein client list, something that the MAGA base had believed was sitting in the files, hidden, and hinted that its release was imminent. Asked whether the Justice Department might release the name, she responded, "It's sitting on my desk right now to review." But many viewed what came 6 days later as an even more egregious misstep. On February 27th, the White House Communications Office scheduled a lineup of cabinet officials to brief popular right-wing influencers in the Roosevelt Room. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Wow, you don't need Steve Bannon anymore. You don't need Steve Bannon. You've got the fucking cabinet. They're reaching out to the fucking far right and just giving him the messaging. Imagine, just imagine if Joe Biden had done that. The session began with Vance, followed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, walking the influencers through the administration's agenda. In attendance was a who's who of online maggots: Mike Chernovich, Liz Wheeler, Colin Rugg, DC Drano. The president himself brought them to the Oval Office and gave them custom-designed challenge coins as a token of his appreciation. Before everything went wrong, one of them would remark, "It was the best day of my life." It was the best day of my life. I know. Hi, Oomph. I started early. Sorry. Then the attorney general and her team walked into the Roosevelt Room carrying boxes. Bondi had brought binders as handouts for the influencers. Her aides would later tell colleagues that the FBI had prepared them with the assurance that they contained revelatory details. Someone on her staff said, "Watch this. This is cool. This is going to be epic." This is going to be epic. Epic, I tell you. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, it turned out not to be so epic, actually. But as Bondi's staff started distributing the binders, the blood pressure of other officials in the room skyrocketed. They had no idea what was in the handouts. The attorney general was distributing something she was calling the Epstein files that had not been vetted by anyone in the White House. One official opening the binder began flipping through pages to see if Trump's name was mentioned anywhere. A few pages in, right in the middle, there it was. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, was at the White House that day. If news broke that the Epstein files had been released before the president was to meet the press with the Prime Minister, that would be all the journalists would want to talk about, and Trump would be blindsided. One of Dump's aides hastily steered the influencers out of the White House, telling them that the content of the binders was embargoed until after the president's news conference with Starmer, but that the communications office would be more than happy to talk about the files afterwards. As the influencers left, they snapped selfies in front of the White House holding their binders, quickly posting the pictures on social media. They had now created a new shockwave of anticipation for what might be in them. Oh, this is so well handled. So well handled. I know. Here's the thing. Jim says, if you showed all this evidence about just how bad Dump and his administration are, the cult would still vote for him again. Yeah, because they actually hate freedom. I'm going to use their words on them. They actually hate this country and they hate freedom, which is actually true if you really just kind of break it down. Like some others in the White House, Bondi had either grossly underestimated or simply been blind to the voracious appetite of the MAGA base for information about Epstein. I mean, really, they've been driving this for a long time. Her binders contained information about him and his activities, flight logs, contact lists, summaries of items taken from his residences after his 2019 arrest, and other material, but nearly all of it had been previously released. Bondi had somehow simultaneously oversold and trivialized the Epstein files, and now the influencers were made to feel like dupes. Oops. In the Roosevelt room, Bondi had told the influencers that this was just the first tranche of files. It was a small binder, too, right? There would be more coming, she assured them, but that story would change, too. Justice Department officials were reviewing the Epstein material, but months would pass before the department or any of Dump's closest advisors knew just how many documents there were. More than 3 million pages of files related to Epstein, and potentially as many as 6 million. In the early months, officials were focused on going through a trove of what are known as 302 forms, records of FBI agents' interview notes with witnesses, some of whom were victims of Epstein. These were raw records, often containing unverified information. Dump was mentioned numerous times, as were other prominent men. In June, 4 months after the circus in the Roosevelt room with the influencers, Bondi and Blanche briefed the president on the status of the Epstein review. We've gone through the files, Blanche told Trump. There's not a lot there. A lot of child pornography. Obviously, we can't put any of that out. There are some mentions of you, but nothing substantive. That's what he said. Who told? Did Bondi? Is Pamela Joe a source for this article? Oh my God. Could it be Pamela Joe? Oh my God. Oh my God. Most of Dump's advisors had rejected out of hand the idea of releasing the FBI's raw interview notes. More important, they wanted to avoid putting out anything that could damage the president. Well, you know what? There was a bunch of descriptions of him beating and raping children in those files, and he's not damaged. So I don't get it. What's it going to take? What is it? Where do you actually draw the line? Where do you draw the line? You voted for a shitty economy that is rapidly deteriorating, and war, so people are dying, torture because people are being renditioned to third countries and held for no reason with no due process, right? That's what you voted for, and not only that, you want all that. And if the guy who's doing it has credibly been alleged to rape children and beat them because they don't perform fellatio well enough, that's what you're standing for? This is ridiculous that we're here. This is ridiculous. I mean, what we know and he's not damaged, that's insanity. That's cuckoo banana town. With full transparency and non-starter, a small group of White House and Justice Department officials decided to draft a memo that would explain why the department isn't releasing any other further information about Epstein. But even the process of composing the memo was fraught, in part because no one wanted their name on it, and in part because deep concerns with the leadership of the FBI. For weeks, Patel and Bingo Bongo, the deputy FBI director, had grown more infuriated as they realized the scale of the mess for which they were now being blamed. Did they not know how much was in the files? Maybe that's what it is. Did they just not know the scope of Epstein's network? Really? That's surprising to me. I don't know why, but they repeatedly raised alarms that internally that the Epstein crisis was gathering momentum with Dump supporters. Bingo Bongo wanted to convey something definitive to MAGA. I don't think I'm allowed to say where I draw the line. Yeah, I hear you, Josh. I hear you. They repeatedly raised. Okay, Bingo Bongo wanted to convey something definitive to the MAGA base, and he and Patel pushed for the immediate release of the surveillance footage from the federal facility where Epstein was found dead in his cell. Bingo Bongo hated the Justice Department's nothing to see here memo being drawn up for public release. He told Patel this would in no way align with the promises of transparency after taking over the FBI, and objected to putting the FBI seal on the letterhead, but he was overruled. Mike Johnson was caught on a hot mic calling Social Security an entitlement and that he's going to can it within a year. Yeah. Well, okay. Okay. I guess I'll be homeless, but that's okay. Bingo Bongo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, wait. Patel privately shared many of Bingo Bongo's concerns, but in an internal email on July 2nd, the FBI director gave his support for the memo. I'm going to tell you right now, Pamela Bondi is the source for this article. Hi, Bubblehead. You know that camera. Oh, of course we have it. And then we don't have it because there was so much problems. So yeah, there's a problem with the whole camera. These guys should have known, though. These guys knew how dirty Dump was. That was their whole scam with the whole part of being part of this like big lie MAGA bullshit. This guy's fucking like friends with Q. Okay. He says Q's my best friend. Do you know who Q is? Mike Flynn. He knows. Thanks for the edits, and I still believe this is the correct vehicle forward, Patel wrote with the occasional typo to a small group of colleagues, including Blanche. He's such a fucking fake. He is such a fucking fake. He doesn't know. This is Dunning-Kruger if it were a person. He has no fucking clue how to work in a normal work setting. I'm happy to add any additional sentences to complete the shortfall, but I do think we address specifically why more can't be released as it relates to specific topics, i.e. court order, CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material, victim protections, etc. Bondi rarely used her Justice Department email and was not on the chain where the group worked on the memo. She was aware of both the memo and the release of the prison video, but was not involved in editing the document. Bondi is the source for this fucking article, and I don't believe that. I do not believe that. That sounds like something Bondi told Maggie Haberman. Come on. Oh, the footage that shows exactly what happened. Do you think there's but do you think yeah, I agree with that, Bubblehead. But do you think there was footage or they cut cameras? You know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't they have the ability to just cut cameras and now act like, oh, camera's broke and all that? You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if it even exists, I guess is what I'm saying. Because I wouldn't put it past them to just turn off all the cameras and then figure out a way to, explain it away, which they did, frankly. All right. Inside the White House, Dump had no interest in releasing anything. And senior officials, including Wiles and Blair, were initially unconvinced about the reach of the Epstein crisis. They told colleagues that Republican voters didn't care, and they had early data from Dump's chief pollster, Tony Fabrizio, to demonstrate it. The Epstein brouhaha, in their view, was driven by a fringe conspiracy theorist and amplified by noisy online influencers who didn't represent a meaningful block of voters. If the White House engaged, it would only pump it up, putting an official stamp on the matter. Wiles, Blair, and others around Dump had seen him weather every storm imaginable for years, and in their view, this wasn't a storm, it was passing clouds at most. Bingo Bongo told anyone who would listen that this was a grave miscalculation. It's not an online story, he told White House advisors. You don't understand. On July 2nd, Bingo Bongo might be the only voice of reason. You might be right, Bubblehead. And if you're right, I would love to. That is what we need to see. That is what we need to see. Yeah. My problem crediting their assertions is that Bondi and Cash are stupid, corrupt, and liars. Yes. Yeah, he's talking about prison footage. Yeah. I hope there's footage of the other. I mean, I think it'd be interesting to see what's in. Not that I want to see CSAM, believe me, but I want to know who's in the CSAM. Not the children, but I want to know who the adults are. Now, why don't we know who the adults are in the CSAM? If you have CSAM that is attributed to an adult, what the fuck are we doing? That's an investigation. What the fuck? Save the children? Really? On July 7th, the Department of Justice released the memo. It was brief, an unsigned one, and a 1.5-page statement explaining that after an exhaustive search of its databases, they lied. They lied. They're lying. Its databases, hard drives, and networks drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored, and a corresponding review of more than 300 gigabytes of evidence, the department concluded there was no evidence Epstein had maintained a client list. I don't really think that's what the whole thing was about. Oh my God. They really think you're this dumb. The memo also reaffirmed the official finding that Epstein's death in 2019 had been a suicide. Yeah, trust us. Oh, there's nothing to see here. Okay, nothing happened. Okay, stop it. Oh my God. The memo was accompanied by the release of video footage from the federal jail in Manhattan where Epstein died, footage that officials said supported the conclusion of suicide, which it didn't. And with that, the memo indicated the Dump administration would not be releasing further information regarding the Epstein case, and no further investigation of uncharged third parties was warranted, period. Less than 5 months after Bondi had referred to a secret client list of high-profile predators, the case was closed. Or so it seemed. Dun, dun, dun. They're trying to make her the hero. Maggie Haberman is trying to make Pam Bondi a hero. Hi, Lee. I just skimmed that article. Wow, someone spilled some tea about. I think it's Pam. I think Pammy Bondi spilled it. I think she's Bitter Betty. Look at her. She's mad. I did everything for you. If the administration expected that the memo would be the last word on the Epstein case and that the president's most ardent supporters would just accept the purported conclusions of the Department of Justice simply because the department and its investigative agencies were now controlled by Dump, they were sorely mistaken. The memo was an earthquake, and it was received by a part of the MAGA base as an outright betrayal. Oh, it sure was. It amounted to an abrupt disavowal of all the sinister conspiracy theories that some of Trump's closest confidants had hyped during the Biden presidency and before, and that they had promised to expose once Dump was returned to power. The release of the surveillance video, which Bingo Bongo and Patel had intended as a gesture of transparency, further fueled the fire. The Department of Justice ended up releasing roughly 11 hours of prison video intended to show that nothing nefarious occurred, but the footage was missing a minute, a visible timestamp jump from 11:58 p.m. to midnight. Bondi initially attributed this to a nightly system reset. The footage was later restored and released. To many of Dump's followers, however, this was yet more evidence of a cover-up. Good morning, J. Rance. Hi, Paul. Paul, yeah. Paul's had a good week. Yeah. Wait, we need some music for that. Hold on. We need this. This is, whoops. Yeah, this is for Paul. This is Paul's vibe. That's right. Very proud of you, Paul. Man, that's fucking hard. Do it. You got this. Paul J in the house. Paul J is making it happen. No, he's not watching it. He's making it happen. That's our Paul. Oh, it sucked balls. Oh, hell yeah. Hey, that week it really sucked. But hey, here we go. That's right. Paul is on the case. Oh, Paul, you left more for Josh. Thanks. You got this. You deserve a song, god damn it. Because that's hard. That's right. Thank you for sharing that, Paul. That's your song. Just smooth sailing, Paul. Smooth sailing. Nice. That's good news. That's good news. That's a fucking accomplishment. Yeah. None of the three had ever experienced anger at this volume from Dump's conservative base. It was disorienting, especially for Patel and Bingo Bongo, whose power and influence had been built online. The movement that had treated them as heroes was suddenly turning on them. The two men were now tightly connected to a memo that stated in black and white that while information in the government's possession showed ample evidence of Epstein's own wrongdoing, there was no evidence of a wider conspiracy. I'll clip it for you, babe. I'll clip it for you and I'll put it in the Discord. The day the memo was released, Bongino showed up to a daily Justice Department meeting with the FBI staff and the Attorney General. He was in a volcanic mood. As soon as he entered the room, he erupted at Bondi, shouting at her. Yeah, this is all Bondi, man. You fucked this thing up from the start, Bingo Bongo yelled. The way you've been talking about this, that dumb fucking charade with the Epstein files, the they're on my desk nonsense, all the promises to the folks out there. Patel and Bingo Bongo both subsequently told the White House official that Bondi needed to resign. Oh my God. What's RBF? Wait. What's RBF? Bubblehead. What did you say? Wait, I gotta find it because I forgot to mention it. I'm starting to feel. Yeah, I understand, Paul. You know what? It'll take any day. I'll take any day when it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I'll take any day. Never forget. Boy, there's a lot of love for you, Paul, in this chat. I'll tell you that. You got people behind you. Let's see, because Bubblehead, you had said something. Oh, that's just her RBF. I don't think Bondi is capable of actual feelings. What's RBF? Oh, glad you're reading this. It saves me time having to read the rest. Fuck yeah. I know what to expect. I'm a professional quitter. I love you, Paul. I love you. You just do you, man. I'm not. Oops. Oh, whoops. I kind of fucked up there. All right, here we go. I love this. Wait, hold on. Why? Oh, I guess Bongo really he left. I got messed up here. Hold on. Okay. 2 days later, on July 9th, the two men were summoned. Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, I imagine, Paul, it's a lonely walk. I'm telling you right now. I get it. I hear that. I feel that. 2 days later, on July 9th, the two men were summoned to a meeting with Wiles and Bondi in the Situation Room complex. They were the last to enter the small wood-paneled room. Seated around the table were Bondi, Wiles, Blanche, and Taylor Budowich, one of the Wiles' deputies. The moment Bingo Bongo sat down, Wiles told him that she had been informed he leaked a sensitive story about Epstein and Trump to ABC News. I know, right? There you go, Paul. We'll take what we can get, right? Neil, what'd you say? Josh and you're saying hi to everyone. That's so sweet. I love that. I love seeing that. I'll tell you what, Bingo Bongo replied. I'll give you $100,000 cash right now. I'm not kidding. Walk out to West Exec, put that reporter on speaker, and get him to admit I leaked it. $100,000. Wiles snapped back. Well, we all got ourselves into this. Bongo caught her off. No. We didn't get ourselves into anything. I warned you guys about this the whole time, and you ignored me. And exactly what I said was going to happen happened. And now you're pretending I was in on this? I was never in on this. Bingo Bongo's a great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bingo summer stock theater here at Lolo's Lounge. But Bongino's aggressive response to Wiles startled the others. She was the White House chief of staff, essentially a stand-in for the president. Wiles put Bongo on the spot. Going forward, she said, we're all in. We're all going to agree to move forward. Are you in or not? No, I'm not, Bongo said. This is not my plan. I'm not part of this going forward. Forget it. I'm out of here. He stormed out of the Situation Room and onto West Executive Avenue, where he climbed into the back of Patel's armored SUV and directed the driver to take him to FBI headquarters. Oh my God. Some of Bingo Bongo's close friends hoped he would resign right then as an act of protest that would have made him a MAGA martyr and only increased his following. But White House advisors intervened, urging him to stay. If he quit over Epstein and went public, it could severely damage the president. Bingo Bongo told associates he would remain for Trump's sake and keep pushing for more Epstein information to be released. Oh, Bongo. You wear all your feelings on your upper lip. Privately, it's hot, right? This tea is wait, I need a drink. Hot coffee. Yum yum. Blondie Bucks. This is a great article, actually. I mean, I don't know if it's all accurate, but I don't know. Did he get a free pair of floor chimes? I don't know. Privately, he seethed. In conversations with confidence, he lamented what the job had cost him. Millions of dollars in podcast revenue, family time, his audience. He was getting torn apart over a strategy he had opposed from the start. He wears his feelings on his upper lip. The relationships at the top of the Justice Department were by now beyond dysfunctional. At another July meeting in Wiles' office, Bingo Bongo and Patel told the chief of staff that they suspected that Bondi had leaked negative stories about them. I love this. These guys are such fucking idiots. Blondie fucked this whole thing up. Bongino later told a confidant, echoing Loomer's derisive nickname for the attorney general. She was the one on TV saying over and over that they had all this stuff. There was never anything. We were always clear about that. But now everyone thinks we did something wrong. And I gave up everything. Bongino complained that he had given up his high-rated show and millions of dollars. And now it's all disappeared. Because people think we screwed something up with Epstein. Bingo Bongo paused. This is going to be President Dump's Iran-Contra. I think I do a very good Dan Bongino, okay? Stick around, Dan, because I nailed you. On July 12th, the president took to True Social to defend Bondi against criticism and to urge his boys and gals to stop wasting time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody nobody cares about. This actually is making me happy. I don't know. I was having a bad morning, and this is like brightening my morning. I must admit. All of whom were wait. Nobody cares. Trump told aides he was very unhappy with some of his most influential supporters, including Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, and Megyn Kelly, all of whom were publicly urging the administration to come clean. Kirk had held the Turning Point USA event the previous day that turned into an Epstein grievance fest, with one speaker after another bashing Bondi over her handling of the situation. Trump had called Kirk and scolded him. Mm-hmm. If you tell me Candace Owens is right about all this stuff, I'm going to be real, real mad. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Nobody in Trump's orbit had a better feel for the younger part of the MAGA base than Kirk, who saw that Epstein cover-up, as it was now viewed, was capturing attention to an alarming extent. Donald Trump Jr. and J.D. Vance, both of whom spent considerable time on X and were tapped into the same younger and hyper online portion of the base, were also worried. They urged the White House to change course and force the Justice Department to release more of the files. Your own son! Your own son! Your own son! Vance made clear to colleagues that he feared losing some of the so-called low-propensity voters, the young men who were not traditional Republicans, but who had voted for the Trump-Vance ticket in 2024. This was an audience tuned into the manosphere, podcasters like Joe Rogan, and it was worrisome that the podcast hosts themselves were now rebelling. Oh, well, now they have a real problem on their hand. Let's see. But there was one major obstacle in the path of a solution. The president himself still had no interest in transparency. Hi, Badge. How are you doing, babes? He wanted the whole Epstein issue buried, and he was snapping at anyone who mentioned it. His staff largely avoided the subject in their conversations with him, forced to worry among themselves. Finally, on July 16th, an exasperated Truth Social post, seemingly desperate to make his case in language that might resonate with his base, dumped somewhat nonsensically called the Epstein case a hoax by Democrats, and then proceeded to heap abuse on members of his party and his base, disavowing their support, calling them past supporters and weaklings who had bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. As the president was trying to redirect everyone away from Epstein on social media, members of both parties began to push the other way. Many Democrats embraced the growing Epstein scandal as a top focus in their messaging and as a weapon against Trump. They were joined by a few renegade Republicans, which added to the political pressure on the president's team. Representatives Thomas Massie, a Republican, and Ro Khanna, a Democrat, filed H.R. 4405, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, in the House. And although they did not yet have the votes for the bill, it would become the next battleground as the president dug in against releasing information. Manosphere. Yeah, exactly. We cover that a little bit here. Oh, Oren, just washed my hair, so everyone near me is also listening to Lola's Lunch. Fuck yeah. I love that. I love that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Love you, Oren. I hope you're enjoying your hair appointment. TJ! Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Bye-bye. As the president, word reached the White House in late July, meanwhile, that a subpoena would soon be coming from the House Oversight Committee led by Jimmy Comer, a Republican from Kentucky. Why hasn't he gone after Jimmy Comer? Why hasn't the president gone after James Comer? Because James is really kind of doing this. Like, he's kind of pushing the issue. He's keeping it in the news. You know, it is the only weapon against Trump. See, here's the thing. And not only that, it's something that we should actually resolve. And it's not just about Trump. That's the problem. It's not just about Trump. It's about all the people involved in a wide ring of trafficking and sexual abuse. That's what we should be focused on. The reason we need all of that is that we need the disclosure. We need accountability. Okay. That's what's most important here. You know, so they can act like we're just doing this because it's a weak point for Trump, but it's something we should be doing, right? Because it's the right thing to do. And take the personalities out of it. If these are your children, if these are your sisters, then you should be focused really on justice and accountability. Right. Comer is dumb. He is dumb, but something like, why aren't they going after him? Yeah, Epstein is in the Trump files. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Good to see you. Dump can do anything and get away with it. No one can run from something as horrifying as what they've done to children. I don't think they can. I don't think they can do that. Yes, please do, Josh. We were hoping you would do that. No, I mean, this is the thing. Like, these people have gotten away with a huge, decades long ring, and we're still experiencing it because, frankly, isn't his brother or somebody still in charge of the estate? Why aren't the victims in charge of his estate? You know, like, what the fuck? What are we even doing? Do we just say nice things and then, we go on and just keep doing shitty things? I don't get it. It had been pushed by committee Democrats with the help of some Republicans, and it compelled the release of files the Justice Department had on Epstein. On the day Trump learned about the looming subpoena, another Epstein crisis meeting was convened in the Situation Room to discuss the pressure coming from Congress. It included most of the same group: Wiles, Vance, Blanche, Warrington, Patel, Bondi, Blair, Chunk, Budowich, and Levitt. Blair told the group that they would try to make sure they were cooperating fully with the House subpoena, but that the priority was to release information that had demonstrated Trump was not involved in Epstein's crimes. Blanche gave an assessment of the Epstein material he had personally reviewed or been briefed on, including a volume of child pornography. The conversation turned on how these files should be released to the public. The idea had already in the works was to put all Epstein-related material on a website. That way, they could overwhelm the magosphere with far greater volumes of information in the form of a huge database. And so they did. God, these people are so fucking, they are so fucking, yeah, Tom. Oh, it's been a long, long time. Kiss me once. Wait, I have to go lower. Kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Never felt this way before since can't remember when. It's been a long, long time. I don't know just how many times. Wait. I dreamed about you. Then I'll see without you. I do love that song. Kiss me once, then kiss me twice. Then kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. That's a great song. There's some really beautiful songs from the 40s, actually. The other one, I'll Be Seeing You, is one of my favorite songs to sing. I'll be seeing you in every single summer's day. Mm-hmm. I love those songs. Okay, the website had been easy to build, and they were looking to potentially going live within a week. They had already accumulated a mountain of material that Blanche had been scrolling through, and it included piles of documents from both civil and criminal cases. They planned to release it all. Blanche could then appear on Rogan's podcast to promote the transparency from the White House. But as it turned out, the searchable website would not go live in their initial timetable. And the version of the site, I wish I did, man. Oh, man, I wish I did. I know, they need me. You're right, Paul. Everybody needs me. I could be the answer. Oh, we'll meet again, yeah. Credit Oren. Yes, credit Oren for the 40s list. Thank you. I love that. I love the list the Spotify list that you put in. Let's see. As it turned out, but as it turned out, the searchable website would not go live in their initial timetable, and the version of the site they originally conceived would never be released to the public. By late summer, it was plainly apparent to the president's top aides that the Epstein saga was not the same as the countless other crises they had weathered during their service to Trump. Countless other crises. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, they're dealing with the shittiest human on the planet. And they're acting like it's just like like you got to try. Well, it's just like, oh, this now we have to deal with this. No, you should be saying, okay, I'm out. All right, this guy is really shitty. I'm out. That's what they should be saying. But no, they're trying to figure out a way to spin it. This is not just a Trump problem. These people are problems, like as a group. My mom always used to play the song I'll Get By on the piano. Oh, that would have been, I would have loved to have heard that. Your mom. I would have loved to have met your mom. To their great surprise and growing disquiet, Trump's old tricks of deflection and denial weren't working. In late July, as the dump team had discussed their crisis meetings, it was Blanche who interviewed Maxwell. Over 2 days, she told him she had witnessed no troubling behavior by Dump and didn't recall him sending the birthday card in the shape of a nude woman. Soon after, she was quietly moved to a minimum security federal prison camp in Texas, a transfer left unexplained at first, which only deepened the public outrage. Blanche said nearly 5 months later that Maxwell had faced numerous threats against her life. Yeah, that's it. As the calls for transparency grew louder, the top ranks of the Trump administration spent even more time in the bunker. Yeah, come on. It's in the, we put it in the Discord. Todd. Hi, Todd. Hi, Heather and Todd. Oh, Heather, did you find the Discord? I sent you an invite. Girl. Let me know if you didn't get it, because I'm trying to figure out how to do it. So, hi, Todd. On August, wait, but where am I? Inner circle. Where the okay. As the calls for transparency grew louder, the top ranks of the Dump administration spent even more time in the bunker. By now, the sit room had become inseparable from the crisis, a guarded space where Dump's inner circles worked to steer the president around a scandal that would soon taint or consume careers at the highest levels of business, science, and politics. But notice that they haven't done it. But it hasn't tainted or consumed anything, right? Like, it hasn't tainted or consumed anything. Because here we are. He's in a war that is endless. Our prices are double. AI people are out of control. Did you? Okay, if you need another one, let me know. But I tried to do it so that you don't have to, like, wait. I know. It's another app. I hate apps, but there we are. On August 13th, Dump's team met again in the secure complex at 6 p.m. for 2 hours to refine the Epstein defense strategy. Again, the group included Wiles, Bondi, Blanche, Patel, Blair, Budowich, Chung, and Levitt. Vance phoned in from Britain. They were slightly conceited, especially the sax player. Oh, I once asked a rockabilly band to play Night Train from Back to the Future. They were slightly conceited. The vice president once again pushed to release as much of the Epstein files as possible with an eye to the public messaging. He proposed that he should be the one to appear on Rogan's influential podcast. Vance had just gotten off the phone with Rogan and later told others that Rogan said he wouldn't have Blanche on his show, but he would take Vance. Oh my God. Oh my God. Speaking of all this, I here at Lolo's Lounge, we are always on top of the news. In fact, we're ahead of the news. That's right. We're just ahead of the news. And as part of that, my daughter actually made a little cut for us, and that is just, it actually is this, it's literally this situation, but in video form. And my daughter actually got this footage. Hold on, here we go. I've got to find it. Stop. Okay. So Bobo made this a while ago, actually. I don't know how long ago, but we're going to watch this instead. Hold on. Oops, wait. Share this tab instead. There we go. Okay, here we go. Wait, I'm going to make it full screen. Wait, oh yeah, here we go. Okay.
Shut this negativity down. Amy, what are we going to do?
Yeah, well, it's inaccurate. Technically, the Secret Service guy was reassigned.
Yeah, and technically, we didn't put 2 oil guys on Clean Jobs Task Force.
Oh, yeah, I see. And technically, this is a fully functioning office, too.
Well, that Secret Service clown has obviously leaked this.
That's right, Mike. Good. You know what? You're going to have to go talk to him, okay? You are the closest to normal we got going in this office right now.
Thanks, I think.
Okay, there's a White House request to publish all the Secret Service office personnel records.
Are you kidding me? They want our records now? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What?
Well, we have to release those. And that has got me thinking, why not release all of our fucking records? Full disclosure.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, publish everything, all of our emails and all of our phone records.
Right, because they won't have time to read everything. I mean, you can't read everything. I don't read half the stuff I'm supposed to.
So by showing that we have nothing to hide, then we can actually hide some stuff.
Dan, what do you think about this?
I just think that this could blow up in all of our faces.
Just because this isn't your baby, you don't care. God, I'm so sorry.
I've made the decision that we are going to release all of our correspondence. Full disclosure is now the name of the game. Mike will fill you in on the rest of it, right? Mike?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Obviously, it is not going to be full disclosure, okay? It's going to be partial disclosure light. We don't want to have a paper trail on clean jobs. There can be no... Are you writing that down? Why would you be writing that down? Nothing about Sydney Purcell having access to clean jobs, all right? We have to check Sue's calendar, make sure there are no meetings there that I didn't
She just edited
have.
it. I have no
The
idea.
accidentally racist
did it in
brochure
the
that we had to
night.
shred.
Oh, we're going to redact that for sure. But the thing is that I still think there needs to be something embarrassing in there. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
it doesn't look as if we just airbrushed the nipples out of this fucking
No,
thing.
that's really good. That's really good. And it makes,
Medical lensing.
Massages at the residence. The press will obsess about those.
That's good. Massages. What
That's
massages?
So your back facials.
Oh,
Back facials, what?
yeah, I get back acne. Back knee.
Yeah, okay.
Hi everyone, I'm down at the Federal Detention Center where there are thousands of protesters gathered at the detention center who are peacefully protesting. But we're not going to leave. We're not leaving. People are really being brave. I'm just going to turn around so you can see. These guys are really torturing everyone, so.
There you go. That
I made the recipe.
Ah! Timmy, no, we're not watching you. Hold on. Stop. Okay, I'm coming back. Oops, am I coming back? Maybe. Oh, okay. I get it. Anyway. So I realized, yeah, she did that actually. I'm really very proud of my daughter because she did that in the night. She did it in one night. Oh my God, why is it doing this? Hold on, sorry. Hide, replace. There we go. I know. I thought it was cute. Then she took some of my footage from that. It was when I did that protest. Then she took the footage. I love that. And actually, it's so funny because what she literally did was what is literally happening and being described in this article, which is a bunch of meetings about what you're going to disclose and how you don't want to disclose everything. So basically, we're experiencing a real life series of Veep, but not with funny people, with really horrible people. So anyway. Oh my God. I love my daughter so much. She is one of the most talented. She actually is one of the most talented filmmakers I've ever seen. That's just a fun little project she did. But anyway, I'm not really sure how she did it. I'm sure it's just like editing. I'm not sure how she did it, actually. I don't know. She's better at that stuff than I am. All right. The Vice, let's see. He would take Vance. Vance argued that if he were the one to appear on Rogan's show, then only a part of the conversation would be about Epstein. The rest of the interview, he told the group, could be about the president's recently passed legislation and what it would do for working families, which it hasn't actually done anything for working families. If you watch my Manic Monday Money bullshit show, you'll see that there is a very deleterious impact on families and households as a result of the big ugly bill. And corporations and billionaires are happy clams. That's the bottom line. Oh, Bobo loves you guys too. I'm going to tell you that right now. She loves you guys. I got to get out to more protests. I think we've got a big one coming up on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. But I've got to think about some targeted protests. I'm definitely going to walk precincts too for Nithya Raman. I want Nithya Raman for LA mayor. LA needs a progressive mayor, and Nithya is our choice. So there you go. Let's see. Where am I? But the larger conversation before them was how to handle the crisis and the public relations risks for the administration. The challenge would be any embarrassing or damaging allegations about the president, even if they were unsubstantiated. If everything was publicly available on the website they had planned, it could include all kinds of potentially humiliating material, which it did. Suddenly, one of the officials in the sit room raised the subject of a disturbing but uncorroborated accusation against Dump that had come to light in unsealed filings from a 2015 defamation case brought by Virginia Giuffre against Maxwell, which had been settled 2 years later. The secondhand accusation, alleging a specific type of sexual abuse, was the perfect example of something that would show up on the public website and put the spotlight on Dump, whether it was true or not. Giuffre, who had met Epstein when she was a teenage spa attendant in Dump's club Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, became one of the sex offender's most outspoken victims. Giuffre stated in late 2016 that to her knowledge, Dump had done nothing improper. She died by suicide in April 2025, 3 months after Trump returned to power. The old Giuffre case file included emails sent to a journalist by another Epstein victim, Sarah Ransom, who later sued Epstein and Maxwell. Epstein had also settled that case. In the emails, Ransom claimed that she knew a girl in Epstein's sex trafficking ring named Jen, who said she had sex with Trump. Ransom also claimed that Jen had told her that Trump had a predilection for nipples and that he aggressively flicked and, yeah. Ransom wrote that she had seen evidence that when she shared a bathroom with Jen, they looked incredibly painful as they were red and swollen. I remember wincing when I looked at them, she wrote. I'm sorry about that. That is graphic. Trigger warning on sexual violence. Ransom's credibility was not uncomplicated. She had made another claim that she possessed video footage of prominent men having sex with young girls in Epstein's entourage. She later retracted the claim, saying she feared for herself and her family if she proceeded. But after a federal judge ordered the unsealing of some of the Giuffre case files in 2023, the document that connected Trump to the claim about abused nipples was among the material that came out. It was an unconfirmed allegation and had not been made publicly, but the disclosure led to some articles that were quickly lost in the swirl of election year news. Some of Trump's advisors in the sit room had never heard of the nipple claim. Those who had seemed to have only passing familiarity with it. Many in the room thought this was all discredited nonsense, but it might not matter. The Ransom emails could get new attention if they were included in a public-facing and searchable Epstein library that carried the branding of the Justice Department. An administration official had already searched for Trump-related materials on the still private test version of the website, and the material was among the first to show up. None of the credibility. Hi! Oh, no problem. TV2, thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know how to do a heart, but thank you. I appreciate you. Cheers. Let's see. The Ransom emails. An administration official had already searched, and the nipple material was among the first items to show up. None of the credibility issues would come into consideration if a government-endorsed website database gave Ransom's claim about Trump a stamp of validity. This is ridiculous. This is out there. One of the officials told the group in the sit room. They're going to make a huge scene of this, even though it's not true and everybody knows it. How do we know it's not true? She's not the only one that claimed sexual abuse. What are we all reading the same files? Blanche argued that in context, the Ransom document and Ransom's disavowal of some of her claims would make clear why the allegations related to Trump had never been pursued for prosecution. Besides, these allegations were already available online because of what had been unsealed, so there was no reason to leave them off the Justice Department website. The vice president said he thought the president would be okay with releasing the nipple documents. What the fuck? Arguing that Trump had been accused of worse. I think we should put it out, he said. It would cause people to say we're going further than we need to. Wiles quickly responded that the president would not, in fact, be okay with it. It was a point no one wanted to continue debating. One official would later describe it as a surreal experience to be discussing. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a surreal experience to keep reading the word nipple. Okay, it's bothering me. This was in miniature the entire problem the White House had with the Epstein files. Piles of accusations were impossible to disprove. Oh my God. They're worried because there's too many accusations. Think about that. They're worried because there's too many allegations. Every door they opened led to another room, and in every room there were more claims from more women. For a few weeks, they thought they had found a way out. The subpoena from Comer's committee had specifically requested Justice Department documents, communications with the White House, and material from the Epstein and Maxwell criminal case files, not material from civil litigation such as the ransom emails. They could comply with the letter of the subpoena, post the Justice Department material to a stripped-down version of the planned website, and leave the rest aside. Civil cases were separate matters outside the remit of the Justice Department, and the subpoena allowed for another escape hatch. The Justice Department could withhold certain documents as long as it explained to House lawmakers what they were and why they were held back. But that strategy collapsed quickly. More Republican lawmakers would press for additional disclosures, including former Trump allies like Green and Lauren Boebert, and the Trump administration was slow to comply even with the initial limited set of documents required by House subpoena. By mid-November, the bipartisan coalition the dump team had worried about since the summer had finally had the votes to force the administration's hand. The Epstein Files Transparency Act passed the House and the Senate in quick succession, and on November 19th, Dump yielded to the inevitable, signed it into law. The new law went further than the House subpoena. It sought a broader tranche of files and contained a warning to the administration that no record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. It sought everything that Dump had spent the better part of the year trying to suppress. The legislators who passed the bill had no idea how many files had mandated to be released within a month. The pages would end up numbering in the millions, and the president, his family, and places like Mar-a-Lago estate would be referred to more than 38,000 times, according to a New York Times analysis. The Dump Justice Department said there was no client list, but the entire episode was another flashing light in an era when belief in the American system of justice had corroded to the point of collapse. Raw witness accounts and evidence from incomplete criminal investigations were never meant to be seen by the public. Oh my God. There were long-standing systems in place to protect both the accused and the accuser. The files amounted to a public dump of any Justice Department document that mentioned Epstein's name, no matter whether the information was confirmed as accurate or not. The released pages did name many powerful men. Among them was Epstein's former close friend, now the President of the United States. In a January 2020 email, this one was interesting. In a January 2020 email, a federal prosecutor told a colleague that Dump had flown on Epstein's private jet far more than anyone knew. Flight records in the file showed at least 8 trips between 1993 and 96, sometimes with his second wife, Marla Maples, sometimes with his children. In January 2024, Dump declared that he had never been on the plane. What else remained undisclosed? The question would only sharpen as people combed through what was redacted or missing. The Justice Department, after more than 3.5 million documents were made public, said no others needed to be released. Dump, characteristically, was creating his own reality. He had long claimed that everyone else was corrupt, especially his critics. These files, he say, despite the avalanche of references to himself, were the proof. There are a lot of questions about it, he told reporters at the White House in February 2026, but nothing on me. Dump had declared Epstein a dead issue during the summer, but as he began the second year of his presidency, his own team could see that voter concerns about Epstein were still breaking through to an alarming extent. In an internal memo circulated to roughly a dozen Dump advisors in late March 2026, the president's pollster Fabrizio summarized findings from 2 nights of focus group conducted that month. Fabrizio's memo listed the Epstein files as the 6th most important issue raised in the focus groups, behind inflation, the economy, foreign policy, immigration, and healthcare, but ahead of data centers, military issues, crime and safety, and being pro-working class. In the section on key takeaways of the focus groups, Fabrizio's memo stated, there is also a consistent mention of the Epstein files, which came up in every group and is a real negative with some of these voters. The Epstein crisis had exposed something that some of Trump's closest advisors spent months refusing to see. The president could break institutions, redirect the federal government against his enemies, and bring the world's richest men into the Oval Office bearing tribute. But he could not, it turned out, make Jeffrey Epstein disappear. So that is that article. I'll share the GIF link so you can enjoy that on your own. I wonder, do I have access to this? I think I do. Act Blue, the woman from Act Blue testified today, the CEO. I don't know if you watched some of that. But thanks to Gal for sharing this with me. Because I watched a little bit of it, and she was pleading the fifth in her testimony today. So, and the way I watched it, it was interesting because I have a background in philanthropy, so I know how these things work. And what their argument is, still spiraling. Yeah, that's it. What they're saying is that Act Blue accepted foreign donations, and when they're supposed to like get some kind, there's documentation requirements if you're going to get foreign donations. And although they did that for most of them, they also got payments through PayPal and other third-party services, and that's where that verification can lapse. They can do it sometimes, but sometimes it doesn't. So I could see where this system. Now, on the other hand, if you want to talk about WinRed user, you want to talk about WinRed? You want to talk about WinRed? Oh, is this Bob Cox? You guys, this is Bob Cox. He has an obsession with me and my dinosaur suit. So, welcome to the show, Bob. Great to see you. Hope you learned something. Have a nice day. Anyway, so that's the story with Act Blue and WinRed, because WinRed also does things like trick people. Remember when the Trump administration or the Trump campaign got in big trouble because they tricked a bunch of grannies into giving them monthly donations? Remember that? Remember when they got all embarrassed because of that? So you can complain about Act Blue all you want. I don't give to Act Blue, so it don't really bother me. But you got to look at your own house too, babe. Anyway, so this is why I will use my Fifth Amendment rights before Congress today. Silence in response to bad faith action is not retreat. It is a bedrock American right. So let's read this by Regina Wallace Jones. She's the president and chief executive of Act Blue. I am not going to Congress looking for a fight. And yet, when I testify today before members of the House, I will invoke my Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. Invoking the Fifth Amendment is not an admission or even an insinuation of guilt. It is not a retreat. It is the only reasonable response to a proceeding that from the beginning has been about harassing a political opponent's fundraising platform, not genuine oversight. Now it is becoming something far more dangerous. Over the past 2 decades, the group I lead, Act Blue, emerged as the leading fundraising platform for the Democratic Party. We serve millions of small dollar donors and support more candidates and causes than any other organization in the country. For more than 3 years, Act Blue has worked in good faith with the investigation by congressional Republicans, produced thousands of pages of materials, and answered dozens of questions. The investigation purports to be in support of legislative proposals to protect American elections. I want to be clear. Act Blue has consistently supported legislative proposals to secure campaign fundraising and ensure that everyone is playing by the same rules. We endorsed the GOP's proposed Secure Handling of Internet Electronic Donations Act in 2024, and we have already implemented key provisions of the proposed Campaign Finance Transparency Act, which was introduced last month and voted out of the House Administration Committee with bipartisan support. However, this investigation isn't really about advancing legislative proposals. If it were, today's hearing would include the Republican fundraising platform WinRed. This blatant hypocrisy must not be overlooked. In April 2025, Dump ordered the U.S. Attorney General to target Act Blue and cited the House's investigation of the organization as a justification. Less than 2 weeks later, Republicans in Congress sent a letter to then Attorney General Pam Bondi detailing their ongoing investigation into Act Blue while pledging to work collaboratively with the DOJ. Brian Steele, a Republican from Wisconsin, the chairman of the House Administration Committee, which oversees election law, said publicly he was working to make sure the Department of Justice has the information they need to move forward in their investigation. Acting Attorney General Turd Blanche recently said that investigating Act Blue is a priority of the department. No, this is how he gets off, Max. You don't understand. Again, this is not legitimate oversight. It's a coordinated campaign of political retribution. Wednesday's hearings is the latest assault in that corrupt campaign. Ugh. Congress has no constitutional authority to conduct criminal investigations. The Supreme Court has repeatedly made clear that this role belongs to the executive branch. When a congressional committee works with the Justice Department to target a political adversary, it is not legislating. It has crossed a red line that was drawn into the Constitution for a reason. The congressional committees investigating Act Blue have also made clear that they want to question me about communications protected by attorney-client privilege, confidential communications between Act Blue and its lawyers that play a critical role in our commitment to complying with the law. My legal team tried to find a workable path with the committee to avoid waiving privilege over these protected communications if I were to testify. However, the committee rejected every reasonable accommodation we offered. I want to make clear that what is actually happening, because the pattern is now transparent and familiar. Congress and the Justice Department are coordinating to target people and organizations that the president opposes. Consider DOJ's probe of Fed Chair Jerome H. Powell, a longtime target of Trump's, who was investigated in connection with his congressional testimony on the Fed's office renovations. Former FBI Director James Comey was charged with making false statements in his congressional testimony, charges that were later thrown out. The list goes on. It is obvious that Act Blue will be treated the same way. This is a proceeding designed to build an illegitimate criminal case against us. I cannot and will not let my words be misused in that way. These attacks are a part of a much bigger trend of retaliation and retribution. It was universities, it was law firms, then civil rights organizations. Now it's a platform that helps people participate in democracy. If those behind this scheme succeed, they will go further against other causes, against other service providers, other candidates, and ordinary American citizens whose only offense is disagreeing with this administration. That is why Act Blue will fight back with every lawful tool available. In April, we filed a federal lawsuit against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton for abusing the power of his office to violate Act Blue's constitutional rights. We will continue to fight for our rights and support the thousands of candidates who use Act Blue to power their campaigns. That fight continues today. The right to remain silent was not written for the innocent in easy circumstances. It was written for moments exactly like this one, when Congress and the Justice Department work in coordination to tear down their political opponents rather than find facts, when committees refuse to recognize fundamental legal protections, and when answering questions freely means handing ammunition to people who are acting in bad faith. I lead an organization that processed $3.5 billion in contributions in 2024, with an average donation amount of $50 or less, many from first-time donors who simply wanted a voice. I owe it to every single one of them to fight back. The Fifth Amendment is the right tool for this moment. It is a bedrock American tool built for when power overreaches. Today, I will use it. I watched a little bit of that and it was painful. It was really, really painful to watch. So I'm so delighted that she made a statement outside, because I could tell how hard it was for her in the hearing to actually get through. She had to say it over and over again. And I'm sure it felt like, you know how we are when it comes to all that stuff. Let's see. That's that. Let's see what else. Oops, that's not it. Oh, I do have the agricultural hearing. Do we want to listen to some of that, Brooke Rollins? Let me just see what else is going on. That's still going on. Do 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 do. Yeah. Oh, Homeland Security bill. I don't know. We might want to do that. That's not that great. That's not that great. Oh, I think I had a couple things. Wait a minute. Do, 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 do. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, let me. Okay, hold on. Stop. This was Bill Gates this morning. This is the bullshit I was talking about.
I'm glad to be here voluntarily to testify to help with the committee's work. I'll start with an opening statement in the hearing room. I hope my testimony is helpful to the important work of the committee to find justice for the victims. Thank you.
Did Epstein introduce you to anyone? Do you regret your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein? That's it.
Yeah. What? What? Fucking idiot. All right, hold on. I gotta go back. Let's see. Oh, okay. I kind of wanted to watch this. This is related to oops, actually. This was about Leslie Groff, okay? Leslie Groff was Epstein's assistant, and she is all throughout the files. She knows all of the dirt. And she testified, what was it? Was it yesterday or was it the last week? Now I can't even remember. Anyway, so this is a little bit of a long piece, but from Ari Melber about not letting the Epstein stuff go, basically. So here we go. Enjoy.
Our top story is the Epstein scandal roaring back on Capitol Hill, the very outcome President Trump has tried and failed to prevent. Congress drawing new testimony from a key witness, Epstein's assistant of 18 years. Lawmakers now following leads that the Trump DOJ and its predecessors apparently abandoned, or worse, that Trump officials recently hid. So it's vital to recall how we got here, even if Donald Trump wishes this was not the top story tonight. First, last year, then Attorney General Bondi claimed in writing that there was actually no evidence for any other investigations against third parties who had not already been charged in this Epstein probe. What? And remember, she also said there should be no further disclosure of any Epstein files. That was her memo. That was the Trump-Bondi plan to bury and hide the Epstein files. It failed, as you know. Indeed, it was the Epstein files which later exposed how FBI investigators previously tracked several suspected co-conspirators, revealed in this long secret document that actually only came out when we started getting the Epstein files. We reported on it that night and in other reports, and I'll get into that. But what you're looking at is important because this was the then secret DOJ effort to diagram Epstein's then uncharged inner circle. And if you notice the lower left where we've added a square, this is government evidence, but we've added that square for your understanding of what's important today. That diagram includes today's witness, Leslie Groff. Now, we've reported on the timeline, the denials, the secrecy, the leaks, until these later files showed those abandoned leads. This was our case timeline. You remember how it all came back to life. And Groff matters more, perhaps, than some of Epstein's lawyers and accountants. You see the suspect list that was released there on the right. That's the one I'm talking about. She had the widest visibility on his plans and communications with all kinds of people, including some of the people you see on your screen who've only gotten in trouble or faced any kind of accountability since these files came out. The ones that I just reminded you, Bondi tried to hide and said in writing shouldn't be released.
And just Staley, all these guys.
So before I tell you what she said today, and it's stuff that Donald Trump wishes wasn't in the news, remember that she was on the emails and in the arranged meetings for the powerful, for the staff, to the women. I need to go back a little bit. We're going back. Hold on, I want to slow down and tell you guys this. She was at the center. She was on site. So she was an eyewitness. You can see how many times she's in the files. And an email witness because she was on so many emails, her name appears more than anyone else. Yeah. And she kept working for Epstein through his 2019 arrest, arranging the meetings with so many figures. So that's why it matters that now, after all these years, she showed up. You can see today, this is what happened today, showed up to testify to Congress. And in a time of great skepticism about our government, and it took people and pressure to get here, but under public pressure.
Look at how upset. I just want you to she's clutching the hands of the people. Look at her clutching the hands and the arms of people to support her. He loves inflation. Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about inflation. Jesus Christ. The K-shaped economy is coming to snap your head off. So this is Leslie Groff, and she's not a victim. Okay. She's lived a lovely life this entire time. In
a time of great skepticism about our government, and it took people and pressure to get here, but under public pressure, I want you to understand that the Democrats on the committee who've pushed hard for this and 26 Republicans came around, perhaps under pressure, but still came around to demanding this on a bipartisan basis. I'm not telling you we're all good and everything works. We're far from that. But I am telling you that people who said 2 years ago, well, how would you make the Congress do anything? And how could you get the Republicans on board? It would make Trump look bad. Well, here we are today. A bipartisan effort to get her.
Okay, well, let's calm down.
And these other witnesses to speak to Congress, which again is supposed to represent you in the pursuit of the truth. So Groff's lawyer now says she was disgusted by Epstein's conduct. She testified today that he was a monster, a master manipulator, and a deceiver, separating his legitimate life from a secret life as an abuser. She recounts that she first took the job for about $50,000 a year, and that she tackled everything from scheduling to mundane tasks. She describes having to ensure today that he had his reading glasses at every single table at his home, so he never had to look for it. She told the committee that sometimes very late in the day, she'd have to source a dozen chocolate croissants made in New York to be delivered to Palm Beach by 9 the next morning. Amid those kind of details, she also asserts that she learned Epstein was actually a kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde character.
You may.
So her version of events, now that you see how central she was, and I've reminded you how Trump and Bondi fought for this ever to come out, her version of events is still that Epstein somehow hid his entire enterprise from her, even as she carried out this daily schedule and met his demands.
How do you want to get me the link?
Before I go more deeply into what she says, which is a kind of a defense of what she knew at the time, I want to give you a testimonial fact check. I'm reporting on her testimony. That's what she says. Before we go any further, I want you to know what other survivors say. They disagree with her account that she couldn't see any of this.
Yeah, fuck
They've
her.
previously stated that this key witness, Groff, arranged appointments with one victim when she was a minor, and that it was, quote, pretty obvious Leslie knew what was going on, an account given to the FBI in 2021. Groff told the FBI that she viewed booking Epstein's massages as a kind of standard appointment. But now that the public can see all the Epstein files, which again we never had before, and which the FBI did have, the claim that these were just typical massages makes basically no sense.
Hi, JFK.
For example, this witness was arranging payment.
Hi, JFK. How are you? It's so nice to see you. Thank you for coming in. What a nice thing to say. Political drain. Graduate forced from stage exposes disturbing counties' history of racism. Political drain. Okay, hold on. Let me just find that. Let me look at it. Hold on. Political drain. Oh my goodness. I'm subscribing. Which one did you write the script for? Wait. Graduate forced from stage. Oh, wait, here we go. Graduate forced from stage. Wait. Let me see if I can find it. Well, let me go ahead and keep playing this and I'm going to find it. No worries.
That were much, much higher than the most expensive massage services available. And this is what investigators do. You don't always have all the evidence to show, oh, someone admitted a crime, but here was an arrangement for $1,000 payment in 2017, which is about $1,300 today, just accounting for inflation. Even top 5-star spas don't charge $1,300 for the best, sort of most celebrated masseuse they have in the most expensive resorts. She also cited payments to a girl for time spent on the island. Her other past emails, which we only got, of course, recently, show her awareness that one girl could not come because she was at school till 10 p.m. Others show a type of paid activity that goes beyond say, an hour massage she arranged at Epstein's request for a paid visit at the house that would start around 3, but staying into the evening. So that's just some of what we know. Today, speaking to the committee, she played down knowing that kind of thing. Lawmakers say that she was just distancing herself from what Epstein did. She saw no misconduct, she claims. One Democrat saying they want to get Groff on the record so that when we find out later she was lying, quote, we can arrest her. Lawmakers expressing their doubts about her claimed sort of naivete.
Is this it?
It is highly inconsistent what she's maintaining, that she really didn't know Jeffrey Epstein. She arranged young women for massages with a registered sex offender. And I just question whether she can rightfully and truthfully maintain that she saw nothing improper.
I think that's the video.
That's one lawmaker's informed skepticism. Now, Groff's claims of ignorance, what, by the way, under law can sometimes be deemed willful blindness, are also under pressure from the public accounts of Epstein's earlier misconduct.
I know, I heard
and his
that.
famed Florida conviction. Now, I want you to know, like I said, we're going to tell you what happened today. This is new. This is brand new as of today. We didn't know this a few hours ago. Groff did try to address the Epstein history. She told lawmakers that after his arrest in 2008, Epstein lied to me and insisted he'd been blackmailed. He angrily said the allegations against him were false, that he had no idea that the woman he had contact with was a minor. In my mind, that was the reason he was treated so leniently by law enforcement for such a serious crime. Now, from the FBI to Congress, informed investigators have to weigh that kind of denial with how much else Groff would be in a position to witness or see, and how much she helped arrange, as documented in the emails and Epstein files, which under no other criminal case that we've covered in history would you get all the emails. So the old defense looks a little different when the public now has access to the things that the FBI and DOJ had for years and sometimes did very little with.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Lawmakers
macaroni.
also asking today
I don't know
if
if
she
you would
arranged
want
any
me to play
contact
it,
between
so-
Epstein and Trump.
Did she talk about scheduling meetings between Mr. Epstein and President Trump?
Basically, arranging phone calls, I believe, was the most
definitely
of it.
gonna watch.
Just contact between, just arranging phone calls between President Trump and Mr. Epstein, yes.
Did she give a timeline on when they were talking?
I believe she referred to a time before Mr. Trump was president.
So that's going back to a period where we know they were having contact and sometimes socializing. Now, she maintains she had no knowledge of any criminal activity, and she has never been charged. Survivors, though, and some legal experts say that may be the problem. They question how the FBI identified and mapped these suspected co-conspirators, some of them, as you see, redacted, and yet did not apparently legally pursue any except Maxwell, who's now getting those unusually favorable requests met as she gets special treatment from the Trump DOJ. We are here learning new things.
Yeah.
And as some lawmakers said, if the denials do not hold up over time under the weight of evidence and investigation, getting them before Congress, it's a crime to lie to Congress, is itself useful. There are many different elements to the long-running Epstein scandal. And while some people rush to say, well, this means they can assume the worst about anyone they don't like for political or other reasons, and that has certainly contributed to some of the heat, that's not actually what matters. What does matter, and what Donald Trump's DOJ is a part of, is how long the government has hid and misled about the very facts we now have continuing to come out. And perhaps it's a political irony for Donald Trump that by fighting this so hard, he has dragged the pendency of this discussion and news cycle closer and closer to the next election, the midterms.
That's really great.
Just as he dragged one of the Epstein rebels, Tom Massey, through the most expensive primary in American history just to try to get rid of him, which raises the question, why are you so committed to fighting every lawmaker and every survivor and every witness who has something to say about this sordid history?
Having Turd Blanche as your private lawyer And now the Attorney General of the United States. You know, like, what in the hell? I'm going to play that, Macaroni. Let's play your piece. I think I have it right here. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead and put it up on the screen. So this is a 24-minute episode from Political Drain. I'm terrible. Am I remembering it right? Oh my God, how embarrassing. Hold on. And this video, Macaroni wrote the script for this. And so one of our loungers is, you know, a YouTube star on their own right. So we're very honored to have Macaroni among us. And thank you to Political Drain for letting me show your content. I just subbed, and I hope everyone will sub. I left a link for this video in the chat. I'll make sure I link the channel as well, so that everyone has a chance to sub up to Political Drain. But thank you for this, Macaroni. I appreciate the content.
We're not given a voice to stay silent and to just...
I know this story starts out bad, but at least it gets so much worse. So I'm sure that many of you have seen this story. It's gone viral. And it turns out this story is only the beginning. Get your popcorn ready.
Oh, good production. I'm jealous.
What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. And almost every day, literally almost every day, I find a reason to be more and more impressed with this younger generation. See here, Lean Hijaz, and she is no exception. She's 17 and technically a junior in high school, but graduating valedictorian, get this, a year ahead of time. Valedictorian and a year early. And she gave a speech to her graduating class. And turns out part of the speech, well, it wasn't approved by the school district. Now, she is just another great example of brave young people standing up, speaking out. Did I say brave? Listen, she deserves it. So we're going to watch her entire speech and just pay close attention to what she says after she says she just has one more thing to say.
Good evening, students, staff, families, honored guests, and most importantly, Clayton High School's class of 2026. My name is Lean Hijaz, and it's my honor to welcome you all to this important milestone as we celebrate our hard work, growth, and success. Tonight is more than just a ceremony. It's a reflection of years of effort, growth, memories, and determination. Every graduate here has faced and overcame challenges, learned lessons, and worked hard for this one shared moment. While one chapter is coming to an end, a new one is just beginning. As we look around tonight, we see friends, teachers, and families who have all contributed to our journey here in C-Town. Behind every diploma is hard work, sacrifice, and perseverance. Even as we move on to different paths, whether it's college, trade school, the military, or even a gap year, part of us will always remain here as comments. To my fellow graduates, be proud of yourselves. The future may feel uncertain at times, but remember that success is not measured solely on achievements, but by your ability to face and overcome hardship. Don't be afraid to take chances, learn from mistakes, and keep growing into the people that you dream of becoming. As we celebrate, let's take a moment to thank our parents, guardians, teachers, coaches, and loved ones who stood by us through everything. We truly couldn't be here without their unconditional love and support. Class of 2026, this is our moment. Let's move forward with confidence, ambition, and hope for the future. Before I leave the stage, I have one last thing to say. Every single person here has a voice. And we are privileged to have the freedom to use it when so many people around the world are struggling and suffering to be heard. Whether it's the millions suffering in Palestine, Sudan, Congo, Afghanistan, and so many other countries around the world, these are the families being torn apart by ICE. These are not distant issues. They are happening right now as I speak. My point is, we're not given a voice to stay silent and to just...
Whoa! How in the world does that happen?
Now, two things happened there,
Wow.
YouTube, at the end of her speech. They cut her off. We all saw that, right? They pulled her from the stage and they cut her off. But another thing happened there. Nobody's really talking about it. This other thing that nobody's talking about, I think is important. Did you hear the crowd cheering?
These are the families being torn apart by ICE. These are not distant issues. They are happening right now as I speak. My point is we're not giving a voice to stay silent.
That is the graduating class cheering. Yeah, the younger generation cheering one of their own who had the courage to speak out. Even in your red-ass rural podunk, clod-stomping, shit-kicking Johnston County, they cheer. And that's important that we remember that, YouTube. And you MAGAs out there in that county also remember that.
Oh, boy.
Because that's the generation that will replace you.
I agree.
And I enjoy that. I enjoy that so much.
That's great.
You see, MAGA, they will make you irrelevant with better ideas, competent leadership, and greater compassion because they are turning their backs on you as we speak. Listen again.
Oh, this is, I definitely need to watch this.
These are not distant issues. They are happening right now as I speak. My point is we're not giving a voice to stay silent.
They're turning their backs on your racism. They're turning their backs on your hate. They stand against your failed policies, your incompetency, and your corruption. They don't fall for your lies anymore. Your weirdo conspiracy theories don't work on them. And when you scream fake news to the sky, they see you as a poorly educated, low IQ, brainwashed imbecile. They don't even watch the same news that you're talking about.
This is it.
They will replace you. That whole replacement theory you're talking about, wrong demographic. These guys cheering and graduating all over America every day are going to replace you. And they'll cheer again when you're gone. Now, let's talk about the woman that came rushing in like it was a 5-alarm fire. That is the principal of Clayton High School, Melissa Hubbard. And apparently her 2 master's degrees and her 23 years experience in education have not allowed her the ability to read the room. They were cheering, right? But she comes running in at the end of the video, interrupting Lean Hijaz and pulling her from the stage. She also threatened Lean with not allowing her to graduate. That was what she whispered in her ear at that time. And not only was that a threat, because in fact, they withheld her diploma.
What?
Yeah. The one who graduated valedictorian and a year early, she still hasn't gotten her diploma.
That's insane.
Real quick, by the way, that's her public phone number right there, too. Oh, yeah. Maybe you could call her and tell her how you feel about this. Oh, and by the way, there's going to be more than I could even fit on this video on the Patreon version. Hope to see you there. Back to the story.
Now, I don't know if this woman is MAGA. Scratch that. You know what? You're what your actions prove you to be. Cutting her off, pulling her from the microphone, canceling her voice. Yeah, you are MAGA, whether you think so or not. There, Mrs. Hubbard, Principal Hubbard. And I don't know if she's a racist, but Lean Hijaz is Muslim. But it sure looks like it. Her actions look racist. So let's take a look at her profile from Clayton High School. Look at that. Well, Principal Hubbard, the first 2 paragraphs, you talk about the education and your family, and it's all very impressive. 2 master's degrees, great marriage, wonderful kids. But the 3rd paragraph, that's where you talk about being an educator. You remember that word, Miss Hubbard, right? And what it means to you. And this is where I start to take exception with some of the things that are being said as they're compared to her actions on graduation day. For instance, I truly believe that if we work together to meet the needs of our kids and keep them first, then many, and I mean many, great things are possible. Okay, Tony the Tiger, if this principal had not put the concerns of her MAGA overlords first and allowed this possible future leader to speak, like she says in her dissertation, you could have seen those many, and I mean many, great things right there in front of your face. But for the great things to be possible, people need to be heard. Lean had a message that day.
I'm just interrupting him. I found an article from the News and Observer, which is a North Carolina paper, about the situation. Haven't read it yet, but I wanted to put it in to the chat because this is still active. I don't see that. I think she's still in place as principal.
She deserved to be heard, and apparently the graduating class enjoyed hearing what she had to say. But I guess I should thank Principal Hubbard for calling our attention to your little Johnston County down in North Carolina.
There you go.
Because here's where political drain comes in. This is what we do best here. Because one of our writers here, who happens to be in North Carolina, dug a little bit deeper into your county, into your history, into what you might refer to as your culture there, your heritage. So let me ask the people of Johnston County, do you guys still got those billboards down there that read, "Welcome to Klan Country"? They still up? Oh, YouTube, I told you it was just the beginning.
Wow.
I'm wondering if they still have those billboards up there.
It's a great paper. I used to live in Raleigh.
Or is that just a thing of the past, maybe? Or did you guys figure out you're an embarrassment?
I lived there and I lived there.
And you took the billboards down.
I love Raleigh.
No, that can't be it. That can't be it, YouTube. That can't be it. You can't have done this out of embarrassment because you just embarrassed your entire state in front of the whole country. Talking to you, Clayton High School. Or maybe the Klan went broke down there and couldn't maintain the billboards anymore. Maybe that's why you took them down. I don't know. Anyway, kudos for solving a problem that you yourselves created. We're also seeing a report that a large group of white students waving a Trump flag were mocking, harassing, and threatening students of color. And we're seeing widespread bullying in Johnston County schools, especially racial bullying. I told you that was just the beginning. Let's see.
Look at
Klan billboards, your total and complete embarrassment. Now we've got in-school bullying, racial bullying. There's even reports of an online chat associated with one of your schools, Johnston County, in which white students were bullying students of color and talking about shooting and hanging black people. Now this sounds more like it. See, I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. Was she racist? Was she not? I saw the kids cheering. Are they going to get their diplomas? The ones in that chat room? Principal Hubbard? You taking them off stage too when they finally graduate? But wait, there's more. There's also bullying of trans and gay people being reported. Their own local ABC affiliates is reporting these stories. Maybe we've overlooked you for too long. Thank you for showing us, putting an arrow on who you really are. You're abusing those kids. They're going through a mental and emotional abuse because your culture and your heritage sucks. Yeah. You are putting your thumb on the proposal and the potential greatness of these kids by indoctrinating them with your Klan shit. You're a failure. You're failures as teachers, educators, as human beings. You're failures, and they will replace you. We're not done because after all of this, our writer sees the headline, Attorney General Jeff Jackson announces convictions in Johnston County public corruption case. Oopsie. Well, now we're getting somewhere.
This guy could be huge.
Well, now we're getting somewhere. No wonder they feel so comfortable putting the thumb down on these students, telling them who's boss, withholding things like diplomas that they've earned. Corruption usually breeds the type of people who do that type of shit, who love it. That tastes like corruption to me. That over a long period of time, you begin to think that you actually are owed the difference that you haven't earned. The Attorney General Office prosecuted Ronald Johnson Jr., a member of the Johnston County School Board, and gained convictions for felony extortion. Felony obstruction of justice. Ouch.
Good editing.
And 2 counts of failure to discharge duties. Damn. That you, Johnston County? Huh? While you're taking people off the stage who are graduating early, who've earned their right to speak, you're committing fraud, huh? Corruption, huh? Well, it turns out that this guy was sentenced to 17 months in prison and removed from the school board. Now, this was reported in the Raleigh News and Observer. We're also seeing that the county commissioner in Johnston County withheld $7.9 million in school funding until the district adopted an ethics rule banning the teaching of critical race theory. Oh, man, I'm so glad you did that. Obviously, that kept them from learning about the truth. Well, it turns out the schools were never teaching CRT.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. It was not being taught anywhere. Again, the Raleigh News and Observer reporting this story, and the Legal Defense Fund. A middle school teacher in Johnston County was also investigated in 2024 for misconduct after allegations he used the N-word openly in class. I told you it was just the beginning. We're just getting started.
Well, the school district won't tell me anything. They say that this is confidential student and personnel information, but the mom tells me the teacher has not been in school since this incident happened, but she's still searching for answers. Captured on camera inside of an Archer Lodge middle school classroom.
If she got me fired for saying that word and I'm out of the school after 16 years, I would haunt your family for the rest of your life.
What?
You never know I was around, but I'd be doing stuff to make your life miserable.
What?
Again, the district will not confirm whether or not Michael Malchiori is on leave. He is still listed on the staff directory. We tried to give him a call today. We have not yet heard back, and we'll keep you posted with any additional details we learn.
Huh? You see, you open yourself up to these things when you have gone through so much corruption and racism, have become so used to it that you wield it like a weapon. The thing that you used to keep secret in dark corners. I can't wait to find what else is in big for now, but I know what else you people with that type of power and corruption and disgusting closeness to children like to do. I have a list of 1,500 of them right here. All Republican and all God-fearing.
A few minutes later.
Now, lo and behold, as I was reading the report from one of our writers, this one right here, and I made the statement that I'm 100% sure that when people are used to being corrupt like this and never having any pushback, and they have that type of power that they love to wield over others and push their thumb down, usually crimes against children are not that far away. It turns out I've got that too, right here. Former Johnston, let me say his name. Say his name. Richard Braswell, former Johnston County Commissioner, arrested and charged with indecent liberties with a minor. He exposed himself to a little at his church. And I also said they'd be God-fearing, didn't I? I didn't even know that. I hadn't read any of this yet. I just know the type. White, Republican, Christian, corrupt, MAGA. Pet every fucking time. Let's continue. In April 2026, residents found a neo-Nazi and white supremacist signs in the East Clayton Park. The sheriff's department investigated. Maybe, huh? But the Johnston County Sheriff's Department has been investigated themselves for allegedly using anti-immigration and Latino slurs among their leadership. Oh, I'm surprised. Here's more. And this is from the Legal Defense Fund as well. Just citing sources so you know. For the idiot who decides to come in the comment section and think that for some reason they can just make shit up without citing those sources. We're also seeing strong evidence of racial bias in the judiciary in Johnston County, including the 1998 wrongful conviction of Terrence Garner. Authorities held Garner in a prison for 4 years, even after another man confessed to the crime. This is turning out to be that great system that you got going there, Principal Hubbard. We're finding out how great your county really is and why you would do a thing like you did and your school system would be okay with it. What you consider great, we now see. But wait, there's more. We're almost done here, guys. I just need you to understand the type of people who do what they did. Between 1991 and 2014, there was 100% death penalty levied against black persons convicted of a capital crime. 100% death penalty levied against black persons convicted of a capital crime. Also, prosecutors in Johnston County dismissed potential black jurors at 3 times the rate of white potential jurors in cases where the defendant was black. And there were reports of racially divisive language used in the prosecutor's office, terms like thugs, predators from the plains of Africa, quote, unquote. That was covered by North Carolina Newsline sources. After looking at all of this, all of these problems that have been reported over and over again, from Johnston County, problems involving your school board members, your county commissioners, your sheriff's department. Suddenly, it's the little Muslim girl that's the problem. All because she interrupted your school event with the truth. She's the problem. I think that you MAGA asshats, you racist bigots, you Trump bootlickers, you fascist fucks, I think you're the problem. And the rest of us do too. The rest of us do too, and the sooner this younger generation rises up and cheers while replacing you, the better. I'll see the rest of you down in D.C. June 28th through July 4th, 7 days in D.C., where we are hoping to fill up all of the streets. We're hoping to take over all of it. And we're hoping to get one step closer to removing this regime through the constitutional powers that we have called impeachment. Yeah. If we fill up every street, every car door, every hotel, and then go inside those offices that are ours, that Capitol owned by the people, and remind all the people who are inside of those offices for whom they work. I say, I'll see you there for that. The time.
That's great. Wow, that's really impressive. Thank you for that, Macaroni. Yeah. No, that's no problem. Hey man, you gotta pay the bills. He's gotta edit. That software is expensive. No, that's so well put together though, and his message is spot fucking on. And I love that you guys look deeper into the story, and now it's much more a story about what Johnston County, North Carolina really is about. I mean, that's the journalism we fucking need, Macaroni. So thank you and Doug and all the folks with Political Drain, because that's the type of fucking journalism we fucking need. Anyway. All right. I'm going to leave you today for this moment. This is a great note to go out on. I really appreciate that. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for sharing links. Thanks for putting up with my rants. Thanks for being you. Thanks for ignoring that my hair is dirty. No, thanks for all of it. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and girly, at about 9 a.m. or before if I can get away with it. And we'll see what the Congress and news cycle has in store for us then. But until then, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Okay, bye.